Welcome to the Bodyguard podcast, where science meets natural healing to uncover the root causes of complex health issues. Your host, Christine Barnes, is a leading complex case health practitioner specializing in functional testing and personalized care. This show dives deep into clinical analysis, cutting-edge diagnostics, natural therapies, and holistic strategies to optimize your health and well-being. Your health is unique. Your healing should be too.
Fructose malabsorption, the hidden driver behind chronic health issues, in my opinion. Today, I'm peeling back the curtain on a sneaky and often overlooked player in chronic health issues. Fructose malabsorption. It's not very well misunderstood out there in the clinical community. If you've been dealing with gut issues, anxiety, ADHD, bloating, brain fog, fatigue, skin issues, and mood swings, you've tried everything, then this episode of this podcast may be for you. Let's talk about what fructose malabsorption really is, why it's not just a gut issue, and how often plays a deep role in a multi-system dysfunction. So what is fructose malabsorption? It's a condition where your small intestine struggles to absorb fructose. Now, every one of us humans has a very low amount of fructose that we can, even the healthiest of us, absorb at any one sitting. So fructose is a natural sugar found in fruit, honey, high fructose corn syrup, processed foods, alcohol, sugar alcohols, artificial flavorings, and the key factor here is not just if an item has fructose in it, it's about the fructose to glucose ratio and whether that is 1-to-1 or higher, and that's when we struggle. So it's not just about if there's fructose in the food, it's about this ratio as well, because the glucose helps us process the fructose. So when fructose isn't absorbed, it ferments in the gut and can create alcohol from the fermentation process. So this is where we sometimes have, I've seen it in children where they're just incredibly giggly, overstimulated and exhausted all at the one time. And of course, this fermentation then can feed candida. It feeds dysbiotic bacteria, so think things, overgrowths of opportunistic bacteria such as Klebsiella, many others, Streptococcus, can be really a problem if you get an infection post-COVID, for example. Digestive-wise, it can create gas, bloating, inflammation, so think small intestinal bowel overgrowth. It can trigger systemic symptoms far beyond digestion. Think autoimmune conditions and mental health conditions. Now, fructose malabsorption is not the same as hereditary fructose intolerance, which is a rare genetic condition, although I have come across it a couple of times in my clinical experience. We're talking about a functional, acquired type. It's far more common than most people think, and it's certainly an aspect of health that many practitioners either ignore, don't understand, or just don't have a clue. Let's talk about symptoms that go beyond the gut. Sure, you may feel a bit bloated after you've had fruit or honey, but here's what surprises a lot of people. You can also not feel bloated with fructose malabsorption, but experience a wide variety of other symptoms that seem totally unrelated. Anxiety. I've seen this frequently, where sometimes it just takes a small step in supporting somebody that's positive for fructose malabsorption, and the anxiety, I've seen it completely disappear. However, not in all cases. Depression. Now, we know that fructose malabsorption can impair the serotonin metabolism. So that makes sense that in some cases we end up with depression. But these symptoms don't sound like they're related at all to it, do they? Acne, rosacea, eczema, histamine intolerance. So say hello to flushing after food, rashes, can cause fatigue and energy crashes. You can have random food intolerances, loose bowels, and even constipation. Now, this is where relying just on symptoms, although they can be, red flags, it's not always the case. And this is where sometimes symptom tracking in relation to the diet may or may not confirm that it's a fructose issue. So, but the tryptophan blocking that the fructose does is quite incredible, because that can drive issues with not just serotonin that I've mentioned in the cases of depression and anxiety, but gut-brain connection issues, which sometimes can be misdiagnosed as purely psychological. The list goes on. So what's really causing the malabsorption? So fructose malabsorption itself is not always the root cause. It's a symptom of deeper dysfunction. Sometimes it can be purely from a period in time where we've consumed excess amounts of fructose. Sometimes the gut was not quite right to begin with, and that's made us even more intolerant to fructose, and then fructose becomes a bigger and major player. But here are some common underlying drivers I have found in my clinic over time. So SIBO and gut dysbiosis. Fructose feeds, or excess fructose feeds, the nasties, the opportunistic pathogens that sit in our gut. Leaky gut syndrome or intestinal permeability. Inflammation alters absorption and our ability to process fructose, but also fructose and our inability to digest it can cause leaky gut. Gut motility issues. So sluggish movement means more fermentation, but we can also have an overstimulation of the gut due to inflammation, and we can get loose bowels as well. It can be as a result of past antibiotic use or acid blocker use, and all of that disrupting the gut lining and the gut flora. Mold exposure and environmental toxins. They weaken the mucosal and immune system, and this can result in fructose malabsorption. And I've also seen a common correlation between fructose malabsorption and mold. Now, I can't always know which came first. Sometimes it's just that person is compromised, and sometimes they are compromised with their immune system and then get exposed to mold because of dysbiotic gut. Stress and trauma, yes, they affect gut permeability and enzyme function as well. So again, we can have a history of trauma, then we start spiraling down with a few of these other diagnoses. So, okay, what do we do with this? Well, do we just stop fructose? Well, that really limits our diet. And quite frankly, you could eliminate it until you're blue in the face, but it won't fix the underlying problem. So key factors are, yes, we eliminate high fructose foods or high fructose to glucose foods in the early stages of treatment. And we also look at putting in place other things. But we want to dig deeper. So how do we identify fructose malabsorption? I really feel it's an important test to do. So it's quite an easy test. Pardon me. So hydrogen methane breath testing, we use a fructose solution, and it's just a breath test that you do at home. You can do a food symptom journal, and sometimes I see that and I can see patterns where it directly correlates with high fructose foods, but not always. And this can be misleading sometimes. We can do a functional stool test. That helps us establish what's going on in the bigger microbiome picture. Liver enzymes can be a red flag, so that can actually lead us to go, okay, we've got raised liver enzymes, so let's just check out fructose. If you feel worse after healthy foods like broccoli, honey, lettuce, apples, pears, take this as a clue and not just a coincidence. And that may mean that we may have a tendency to fructose malabsorption. But as mentioned in other podcasts, sometimes it could be for other reasons. So what do we do about it? Here's the good news. It's, in most cases, quite reversible when we heal the root or underlying cause. So here's a bit of a rough roadmap. So testing, don't guess, test. You can order this test at my website. You can remove the aggravators. Now, this is what I like to do first up, and I've got a very well list of high fructose foods and fructose foods that are higher in fructose than glucose on my website. So if you go to the resources page of my website and you can see all the food groups and there's drop-down menus, it's really easy application to use on your phone when you're at the supermarket. Even for general health and well-being, just check out some foods that might be lower in fructose that you can make better overall health choices. So that's a resource that's available at thebodyguard.com.au under the resources menu. We want to introduce enzymes to help break down the fructose and break down the buildup of fructose in your system. We want to test the microbiome, so we see, okay, have we got a leaky gut? What's the glucuronidation pathway of the liver doing? And you can also order that via my website as well. Then we start the hard yards. So we rebuild the gut lining, we rebalance the microbiome, and we restore the nervous system regulation, calm the vagus nerve, the stress axis, hyperpituitary axis. And then we want to explore retesting foods. I like to retest fructose. Once we've had a positive fructose test, I want to come back at some later stage and retest, because it's not about restriction, even though we do that short term, it's about building resilience. So fructose malabsorption is not just a food intolerance, it's a red flag, a signal that your digestion, your microbiome, your nervous system are calling for attention. So if you're struggling with mystery symptoms, don't stop at the surface. Go deeper. Get answers.
That's a wrap for this episode of the Bodyguard podcast. We hope you found valuable insights to help you take control of your health journey. Want to dive deeper? Visit thebodyguard.com.au to learn more about our work, explore resources, and discover how personalised care can transform your well-being. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to share it with others on social media. Your support helps us reach more people looking for answers. Until next time, take care and keep prioritising your health, because your healing should be as unique as you are. Please note the information in this podcast is for educational purposes only and not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. The Bodyguard accepts no liability for any loss or damage arising from the use of this content. Always consult a healthcare professional.